pleasure for me to join you at this Ethical Finance Summit. And I'd like to address a question which has appeared on the cover of The Economist recently, which is a question of the future of ESG investing. There's no doubt at all that ESG, which is now $40 trillion plus of capital flowing to achieve impact as well as profit, is a mega trend. At the time of the G8 task force in 2013, that figure was about 13 trillion. Forgive me, 40 trillion today. And if you look at the reasons for its growth, they have to do with fundamental changes in the values of consumers, of talent, and of investors who appreciate that if we want to tackle the environmental and social issues we face, then it involves a change in the way that we invest and the way that we do business. And so ESG has been marked by the intention to deliver impact as well as profit. But it has not been marked, unlike impact investing, by the necessity to measure the impact created. And while there's a couple of $1 trillion today of impact investment, the 40 trillion of ESG is coming under attack because of the greenwashing which is beginning to characterize it. Because of course, as this mega trend to ESG has revealed itself, so many companies and investors have found it expedient to make unsubstantiated claims about the positive impacts they deliver in order to enhance their brands and their image. But rubbishing ESG is to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This mega trend isn't about to just dissipate. Instead, it's going to go in the direction of increased impact measurement. What impact investment has shown is that it is possible to measure the impacts of companies in a granular way. The effort at Harvard Business School, which I'm privileged to lead, the Impact Weighted Accounts Initiative, has published thousands of companies' impacts, measuring their environmental impacts in terms of CO2 or other gas emissions, water usage, biodiversity impact, soil erosion, and so on. It has also published thousands of companies' employment impacts, measuring the diversity debit that characterizes companies that have underrepresentation of gender or ethnic groups, the product impacts of companies, measuring the impact of sugar content on health or carbon emissions on the environment, and finally, supply chain impact on both people and planet. And the next step in the transformation of our economic system is the valuation of these impacts, to bring them within financial analysis and the valuation of companies. The Harvard effort has already shown that a correlation exists between companies that pollute more and lower stock market valuations. So the $40 trillion of ESG money has already made itself felt and tilted the scale in favor of companies with better impact. And now we find the SEC putting on the table the mandatory disclosure of all impacts created by companies, including their supply chain. We find the rest of the world setting up the International Sustainability Standards Board to standardize the physical measure of both social and environmental impact. We find the EU pushing for transparency on investment vehicles, making it impossible for asset managers who wish to market their funds in Europe to do otherwise than conform with the EU regulations. And because this impact data is stock price sensitive, regulators are having to step in to ensure that every investor gets the information on a comparable and verified basis at the same time. We went through something similar in the early 30s. After the crash of 1929 on Wall Street, investors in the US realized that they had been investing in companies without understanding what profits they made, because each company could pick its own accounting policies and there were no auditors to verify the numbers. In 1933 and 34, GAAP accounting and auditing came and the creation of the SEC. We're in a similar position today. $40 trillion are searching for impact as well as profit, but these investors have no idea what impacts are being created. And so my prediction is that within the next 3 to 5 years, we will come to mandatory disclosure in impact statements that are additional to a company's traditional profit and loss and balance sheet. Impact statements that show revenues, costs, and the different impacts of companies in monetary terms. This will effectively shift our economies from creating and aggravating environmental and social issues to bringing solutions to them. So I wish you well in your deliberations and urge you to drive this impact transparency forward as I am seeking to do.